Thank you all for being here tonight. I know it's late, so appreciate you guys sticking around. Clearly, we didn't play to our standard of Memphis Tiger football in the first half. Defensively, gave up too many big plays. The explosive game absolutely killed us, run and pass. Too many explosives. Offensively, too many self-inflicted wounds. Didn't able to sustain drives that ultimately led to touchdowns. Came in at halftime. The guys continued to believe, and we made some adjustments and came out swinging in the second half. Clearly, the defense has stepped it up, and then the offense found ways to get scores. But throughout the game, didn't play to our standard with the self-inflicted wounds, the penalties. That's unlike us. We found ways to get fixed. The guys will learn from this. They'll grow from this. We've got to find a way to get better and improve. The guys continue to believe and be all in, but ultimately fell short. The crowd was great, and we appreciate them for sticking around. Their energy, we could feel it. I'm sorry that we didn't come up with the win at the end, but the Tigers fight, and they believe, and we will improve.
Questions? Matt?
How does it just sit knowing you played probably half as well the first half as the second half? The result's probably a lot different.
Yeah, the first half was inexcusable. Just we didn't execute in any form or fashion. One or two things decent on offense. Defensively, I haven't seen us play that poor in a long time. A handful of factors that went into that, and clearly just not good enough. But I'm proud of the way they went in at halftime and said, okay, we'll get this fixed. And they came out and did an excellent job in the second half. But we dug ourselves in too big of a hole in the first half against a good team, and ultimately fell short.
Terry?
Hey, Coach, what's the status of Lewis? I know he went out the game. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, we'll continue to evaluate him like we have every single day. I'll tell you this, the young man is tough. The young man bleeds blue. He loves his brothers, and most quarterbacks in college football probably wouldn't be playing. And he's certainly playing at a high level, and he knows he could play even better. But he's a competitor. He does everything he can. He lives in the training room. He lives in the film room. He does everything he can to give himself a chance to play when his number's called. And I appreciate it about him. He lays it all on the line for the guys. And, he pushes through it. He's obviously in pain. We never want to put him in a situation where he hinders us. But his mindset and approach has been phenomenal.
Frank?
What did you see from the Tulane offense that gave you guys trouble in the first half, or was it more just you guys not executing?
Yeah, their offense did some good things. We knew that their quarterback was capable. They had some explosive receivers, but we didn't execute. Obviously, the very first play of the game, an explosive pass like that. We have to find ways to be able to play top down and not allow the explosives. Look, teams, good offenses are going to get yards, but we didn't execute it in any form or fashion. Some of the runs that were popping out, we were losing our edges on certain things. The inability to cover some guys, and ultimately led to a very, very poor first half.
Landon?
Coach, what went into the decision to go with Arrington over A.J. Hill, like we saw you did with UAB, and then what did you think of Arrington's performance?
Yeah, I understand, appreciate that question. We evaluate them literally week by week, and they've both done a great job. We've got great faith that both will be wonderful quarterbacks here at Memphis. But at the point, just felt like Arrington, it was the best situation. Obviously, we put him in there in the red zone to run the football. We got that, and then when B. Lou couldn't go anymore, we thought it was the time to put Arrington in. I thought he did some really good things. Obviously, Arrington will be the first to tell you there's some reads that were missed and some opportunities that we could have had better. But look, anytime a quarterback's got to go in there, a young one, redshirt freshman, I thought he did some really good things.
First half the way it was, and then the response in the second half. What's the feeling like in the locker room after the game with all the things that happened?
Yeah, pissed, frustrated, anger, and those are the only emotions I want them to feel. There should be disappointment. And here's what I told him, Joe, and I said, listen, I want you to feel this way. I want us to never feel this way again. This shouldn't feel good, and nobody should be smiling. No one should have any type of emotion of joy. And But here's what I did tell them. I said they're a special group of young men. I firmly, firmly believe that, Jonah. I believe that the group of 118 guys that we have, they're special. They're men that love this program. They're men that love each other. They're men that care. They work so hard. I wish that the whole country got to see how much this place means to them, how much they enjoy playing together, what it means to them to wear that Memphis logo on the front of their chests, and how proud they are of the fans that showed up tonight. And they're frustrated because we didn't go out and execute at the level we wanted to. But I'm proud of the way they fight. I'm proud of the way they believe. And that's something that they can hang their hat on. There's no moral victories by any stretch of the imagination. I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated, and so is the entire locker room. But they know that that belief that they had, that fight that showed up in the second half, we just need to see more of it. We need to see it every single day, and we got to find ways to execute at a higher level.
And back to Colin.
Coach, just second that, how do you rally these guys to finish strong with 2 games left to go?
Yeah, Colin, I have no doubt in my mind, if I told these guys, hey, we got practice at 6 a.m., they would all show up. They'd be there at 5 a.m. ready to work and ready to get better. That's the type of young men these guys are. I don't worry about having to rally them. I don't worry about having them to discipline to make the right decisions to get better. We got great leadership, and they're the ones that are going to pull us all together. We're not going to point fingers. We're not going to blame anybody. We're just going to go and work to be the best versions of ourselves every single day. And I have no doubt in my mind that these guys will be hungry. They'll be pissed. They're going to find ways to get better because we know we have a very, very tough opponent on the road next week at ECU. And listen, go find a way to go win the next one, and then win the next one. And we'll be 10-2. We'll look up when it's all said and done, and we'll figure out what's asked of us next.
Sam.
Coach, it's 2 losses now, in part due to those late penalties. How frustrating is that?
Very. We're one of the least penalized teams in college football, but then they're rearing their ugly head at inopportune times. Obviously, penalties are never good, Sam. But with that being said, we've got to find ways to get them fixed. The false starts is just something that really we haven't seen over the years, and I've got to find ways to get that fixed. As an offense, we got to find ways to get that fixed. And got to look at it. And it's got to show up on Tuesday practice. It's got to show up on Wednesday practice where that stuff's not occurring. The guys have had a great week of prep, and it really wasn't rearing its ugly head then. And then clearly in crucial times, it showed up.
Finish off with Matt.
Do you think you need more production out of your pass rush?
I think every single person on our team needs more production. I think every single person can do more. I'd like to see our pass rush continue to increase. When you rush 3, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you rush 5. But I think every single person on the entire program, I would like to see more from.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.